The rules you're following were really not written for you. The programming, the nutrition advice, performance benchmarks, vast majority of it comes from studies done on men. Most women feel like they're failing their performance. It suddenly starts to feel, oh my God, why is it so hard? That is not what you've imagined. Your resting heart rate has actually started to spike. Your temperature is higher. 4 distinct hormonal environments. And once you understand what is happening in each one, the training and the nutrition decisions become so much more logical. Here is something nobody tells women when they start training. How your cycle should be influencing your training, nutrition, and recovery. Now, here is something nobody tells women when they start training. The rules you're following were really not written for you. The programming, the nutrition advice, performance benchmarks, the vast majority of it comes from studies done on men. Men who run on a 24-hour hormonal cycle, not a 28 to 35-day one. So when you show up every day with the same program, the same intensity, the same expectations, and some weeks feel unstoppable while some others feel impossible, that's not inconsistency. That is your biology doing exactly what it's supposed to in a system that was never designed to account for it. Yeah. Now that changes today. We're going to go through 3 things. What your hormones are actually doing across each phase of your cycle, how to train around it, and how to eat around it. And by the end of this, the way you think about your month will not be the same. At least that's our hope. So let's start with what your hormones are actually doing each week, right? Now, your menstrual cycle, as you know, has 4 phases. It's menstrual, follicular, ovulatory, and luteal. Each one has a distinct hormonal environment, and the environment directly shapes how your body performs, recovers, handles stress, uses food. Now, the 2 hormones driving most are estrogen and progesterone. So let us go through what each one actually does. Estrogen, now it is anabolic. Anabolic simply means building up. So it refers to the process in the body that will create, repair, and grow. So it supports muscle protein synthesis, which means it actively helps you build and repair muscle. Now, when estrogen is high in your body, your carbohydrate is used efficiently, improving insulin sensitivity, which means reduces inflammation and helps you recover better. Pain tolerance gets better, neurotransmitter function is better, energy is better, motivation is better. That's estrogen. And estrogen rises through your follicular phase and peaks at ovulation. Now, progesterone, that is catabolic, which means breaking down, refers to process in the body. It's like breaking down stored energy for smaller functions, right? So your metabolic rate is really high, burning more calories, and it raises your core temperature, elevates your resting heart rate, also influences serotonin production, which drives carbohydrates craving. It increases appetite genuinely, all right? Now, progesterone is typically low in the first half of your cycle and rises significantly after ovulation, dominating your luteal phase. So week on week, what's happening really? Week 1 of your menstrual phase, both estrogen and progesterone are super low. Inflammation is high, energy is low, body is doing real physiological work, shedding the uterine lining. Now, this is low hormone, high demand week for the body. Week 2 is your follicular. Estrogen begins to climb steadily. Your FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is active, preparing a follicle for ovulation. Muscle recovery is faster, energy is better, pain tolerance is better. This is the ascending phase. Now, week 3 is ovulation. Estrogen peaks. Sharp spike in LH, luteinizing hormone, right? Release of an egg. Testosterone spikes. Now, briefly during this window, coordination improves. You feel better. Anaerobic capacity is better. And then comes progesterone dominance. Estrogen dips in the luteal phase, body temperature is rising, high heart rate, making everything slightly harder, right? And this is also when PMS symptoms like bloating, mood swings, all of which have direct hormonal causes. Now that is your cycle, right? And then you have your menstrual. Of course, we know what we go through during the menstrual phase, right? Week 4, the luteal phase, progesterone rises and dominates and estrogen dips, then slightly rises and dips again before the period. Body temperature rises, heart rate is elevated, and the metabolic environment is shifted from building to maintaining and preparing. Now, this is also the PMS phase, right? Your bloating, the fatigue, the cravings, all of which is real. And Then comes your menstrual phase. So that is your cycle. 4 distinct hormonal environments. And once you understand what is happening in each one, the training and the nutrition decisions become so much more logical. Let's now get into the training, how to train in each phase. Okay, it's very simple. You'll figure out once I explain to you, right? Now that you know what is happening hormonally, let us talk about what to do at the gym. First one, menstrual phase. Estrogen and progesterone are both low, as I said, and your body is running on limited hormonal support. So inflammation is high, energy is low. And this is the time to just move and not push. Gentle strength work if you need. Walking, yoga, mobility is best. Now, if you feel okay and really want to train with some intensity, it's fine, but do not chase personal best, not the time. The cost of the high intensity training on an inflamed, low hormonal system is actually higher than the return. So listen to your body. Now comes the follicular phase, week 2. Here, estrogen is climbing, muscle recovery is faster, energy is higher, pain tolerance is better. Now, this is your window to push, lift heavy, attempt the new weight, go for your HIIT or high rock session. Your body is primed for intensity and will also recover very quickly, right? So if there is 1 week to test your limit, this is it. Then comes the ovulatory phase, week 3. This is peak performance. Estrogen is at its highest and testosterone also spikes briefly, and your neuromuscular coordination is also super sharp. So power up output is great, speed is great, and aerobic capacity are all elevated. So do your power training, do your fast runs, use this window, but remember to manage injury risk, all right? Because there's ligament laxity around ovulation, so just be a little safe. Warm up properly and do not do compound lifts, on a cold body, and pay attention to your form. The performance upside is real, but so is the risk if you're not careful. Then comes week 4, the luteal phase. Now, this is a phase where most women feel like they're failing their performance, like their workouts, right? It suddenly starts to feel, oh my God, why is it so hard? What was easy last week? That is not what you imagined. Your resting heart rate has actually started to spike. Your temperature is higher. Your perceived effort and at any given intensity is genuinely greater. So you're working harder at baseline, right? The answer is not to abandon training, it is to adjust the training. So moderate training, lower intensity, skill-based sessions, mobility sessions, keep moving. Just don't do peak performance. That your body is not going to be able to give you peak performance, and it's time you understand that. And here's what I want you to hold on to. Women who train with their cycle tend to actually perform better overall, not worse, because they're not grinding down their recovery, not accumulating fatigue, in the wrong phases, and not burning out. So the goal is always long-term consistency and not short-term heroic stuff. Now, how to eat in each of these phases. Training is just one part of it, right? Nutrition does a lot of work for the body, and we all know that. And the way your body actually processes, and needs food actually shifts across cycle in ways that most women are completely unaware of. Even I was unaware of. It's taken me some time to understand. And it's a constant experiment. Now, in your menstrual phase, that's week 1, your iron is high priority because you're losing a lot of iron with the bleeding during menstruation. So if you're not replacing it adequately, you're going to feel weaker. You're just not going to feel just tired. You're going to feel flat out. So low iron is one of the most underdiagnosed reasons women underperform in the gym or probably anywhere. Okay, so fix that. Your legumes, your duck, leafy greens, if you're non-vegetarian, red meat, all of this, but along with vitamin C for amazing absorption. Anti-inflammatory foods are also very useful during this phase. So omega-3 rich sources, colorful vegetables and fruits, and ginger. I do ginger in my tea and it helps. Keep your meals warm and nourishing, and your digestion can also be more sensitive in this phase. So warm can actually help you there. In your follicular phase, that's week 2, when everything is going up. Estrogen now is dominating, right? Improves insulin sensitivity. So your body is using a lot of carbohydrates and it's using it efficiently. So this is a good time for higher carbohydrate availability. So do more complex carbs, especially when you're training, like fuel better. Lean protein, complex carbs, a lot of vegetables. Your digestion is typically smoother. Your appetite is definitely more moderate. So your body is in building stage here and replenishing mode. So eat. Then comes week 3 or ovulatory phase, right? Antioxidant rich foods support the ovulation process. So a lot of colors again, vegetables, fruits, and seeds, and like your flaxseed, pumpkin, a high quality protein and zinc rich foods is what you need. But also remember to keep fiber intake solid because estrogen is being metabolized here. So good gut will support better estrogen clearance, right? Then comes week 4, your luteal phase. And this is the most important phase to understand nutritionally because it is the one where women feel most out of control and are always guilty about eating too much. But your calorie needs genuinely increase in the luteal phase. Okay, and studies show an increase of approximately 100 to 300 calories above your normal baseline. This is not craving. This is your resting metabolic rate being elevated by progesterone, right? Now, progesterone influences serotonin production, so your brain is actually seeking fast routes to restore it. That is why you want that carb, you want that sugar. So the answer is not really restricting and fighting that craving. It's just redirection, right? You can choose complex carbohydrates, like go for a banana, dark chocolate, oats, sweet potato. I don't know, they don't sound too exciting, but it's better than just junking it, right? Now, they hit the serotonin pathway without, constant blood sugar spike and crash. Magnesium is particularly valuable in this phase, so it supports cramping. So please take your magnesium and for better sleep quality. And dark chocolate is actually my go-to. Genuinely, not as just as a treat, but as a functional food. It is a good source. And you have your nuts and leafy greens and seeds, which are pretty much constant. So the bottom line for the luteal phase really, eat enough protein, carbohydrates, complex carbs, get your magnesium, and stop interpreting your increased appetite as a character flaw because it is a hormonal signal. So respond to it intelligently and not necessarily feel guilty about it, right? Just remember your body is not inconsistent. It is cyclical, and the sooner we understand, the better it is. There is a significant difference, right, between these two things. Inconsistency is a problem. It's a you problem that you need to fix. But a cycle is a system that you need to understand and work with. So when you start working with it, adjusting your training, adjusting your nutrition, adjusting your expectations of yourself based on where you actually are in the month, everything shifts. The results get more sustainable, the effort feels more proportional, and the relationship you have with your body stops being a constant fight, right? So start by tracking your cycle first, because it took me a while before I could understand how to figure my training. Although right now I'm training hard throughout, right? Because I have a race. But the awareness has really changed the way I look at it, And if you want to go deeper, of course, we're here for you. The programming or understand specifics, make it probably more individualized. You can always reach out to us through the health edit or through our personal gram or email us. But the more you understand, the better it's going to be. And it's going to be some amount of experimenting with your own body, right? Like create a chart, pin it on the fridge. So even if you don't want to pin it on the fridge, you can always put reminders on your phone. There are so many cycle tracking mechanisms right now. And after like 2 to 3 months of tracking, you'll automatically understand where your body is demanding what and how to kind of facilitate that. But most importantly, see if you can make the training change. Because honestly, the food change is easier. The training change is slightly harder, especially when you go into like a group class and, you're excited to just lift that weight, push harder. So it's easier to just push even in the luteal phase when you don't need to. So rework your training if you think you can. We're here to, offer the support or the help and see what magic can happen with the body and how much more energy you are going to be able to exude through the day for everything that you need to do. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I hope this helped. And if it has, please go ahead and share with all your girlfriends and maybe even the boys, because everyone should have good information about a woman's menstrual cycle. Thank you.